Hi, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome everybody. Thanks for coming to this second forum. And I want to thank especially for those architects and some architects that they have been today to attend this magnificent lecture from our guests. I will make an introduction first, an academic introduction, to introduce why today we will be talking about the theme, the subject that we are going to afford. The formulation and design of the ideal city has been, and continues to be today, a recurring theme throughout the history of humanity. So it's not something new today. The history of civilizations is linked to that cities. Therefore, the periods of humanity are also associated with the configuration, structure, and regime of these cities. Since Platon, the Republic in the 4th century before Christ, many thinkers have developed proposals for an ideal city. The Roman city, in fact, was inaugurated with the double actuality of the Cardos and the Comanos, and at the same time with the planning of public spaces, the temple and the palace of authorities. Later, with humanism and modernity, real and theoretical proposals appear, such as the Island of Utopia by Tommaso Moro, or the Città of Palmanova, which is built in Italy in 1593, the New Atlantis by Francis Bacon, or the City of the Sun by Thomas Campanella. This was in 1602. Between the 18th and 19th centuries, models such as the Royal Salwork of Ledoux, or the Fornes Phalansteri, El Phalansterio de Fourier, emerged based on visionary architecture. When this industrial revolution and its social currents, the second half of the 19th century developed the genic reforms that were materialized in the growth of the main Western cities. In Barcelona, for example, we have the Plan Cerdà, which is one of the best references of this time. But we can also refer, in the strict field of utopia, the linear city of Arturo Soria, which tried to link Cádiz with St. Petersburg, based on the railway line as a structuring element, something that maybe we can find an analogy with the line, some of the projects we are going to see today. So we see that history is telling us some precedents. The modern movement of the 20th century also led to projects such as the Radiant City by Le Corbusier and the Broad Acre City by Frank Lloyd Wright, curiously, both presented in the same year, 1932. Some of the common features that define many of these projects are, one, the self-sufficiency of socioeconomic models, and two, the second, the general symbolism of the architecture. So architecture is always present in these new cities. The past few decades, we have witnessed the emergence of so-called giga-projects, gigaproyectos, mostly new created cities in territories of emerging economies, and in many of them in non-democratic countries. This phenomenon is without a doubt a sign of the times we live in. Now with Pablo we were commenting that he thought that there were more than 150 new cities that have been developed nowadays. The title of Forum's landing this year refers to how architecture makes contact with the territory, responding to the issues, challenges, problems, inequalities, risks, and realities of our time. Today we're going to see a reality. The project that our guests will present today are part of this reality. From academia, we must study these cities with knowledge, analysis, absence of prejudices, debate, and finally, a formed opinion. Our guest, Albert Civit, I'm introducing our guest today. Albert Civit is an architect and planner. He's currently on the top of his profession and has held important responsibilities in the City Council of Barcelona, where he presides over the operative functions of the planning department of the city, and the Incasol, the public land enterprise belonging to the Catalan government, where he presided over a complex organization of over 400 professionals dedicated to land development and planning. In the last years, Albert has been in charge of the latest developments and the general organization of NEOM urban planning in Saudi Arabia. And with him, Pablo Molina is a lawyer and planner. He has been a partner in Garrigues, the lawyer borough, for the last 13 years. He's past president of the Spanish Planners Association, and for the last 3 years, Pablo has been involved as well in the development of the NEOM project. So you know that we have an architect and we have a lawyer today, so I think that is very special for us. Thanks, Albert and Pablo. And I mean, we expect your presentation. You are welcome to come here with me and give your lecture. Thank you very much.
It works? Yes? You can hear me? Yeah. Well, this will not be a lecture because Juan have spoiled all of our themes. Then this will be not a lecture exactly. You said a little bit the same. No. Look, this will be like a chat because we have preferred to have a conversation with Pablo and me. We will share the presentation. We will cut each other continuously. It's very pleasant to be invited here to do this conference, and I appreciate very much the people from the Universitat Internacional de Catalunya to invite us. But I want to also say thank you to Pablo, because I asked to Pablo to be here, because the first idea is to make this conference alone, but I don't like to be alone. And then the other thing is, Pablo is a lawyer, I'm an architect. I'm not a fully architect, I'm a fake architect, because 15 years after being graduated as an architect, I studied here in the USA as a manager. Then I mix architecture and manager. Then I always say that I'm not a true architect, I'm like a fake architect.
And in my case, in my firm, they say that I'm not a lawyer, because lawyers do not usually use Excel sheets or I don't know, or do not deal with planning issues or social issues. Lawyers are more like down to the paper, down to the contract, down to the litigation. So they also say I'm not a lawyer. So you all have here in front of you a non-architect and a non-lawyer going to talk to you about a real project.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I want to say, we want to say, is that all the images that you will see today from NEOM and from the line are material who has been published. We have, when we work, in my case, I finished my work in NEOM. I have been working in NEOM for only 1 year because I asked for a leave of absence from the Generalitat of Catalonia, from the government of the Catalonia, and I finished 15 years before. But we signed a very serious paper of confidentiality when we start working with NEOM. Then we cannot show image that we have in the middle of the office. We can only show images that have been published. No?
Or we cannot explain to you things that belong to the confidential part of our work at the moment. When they are public, then we invite the organization to re-invite us so we can explain again some things which will become public.
Some of the images that you will see are not easy to find it. Then some of them maybe are new for you. But all of them are published. Let me do one thing. How many people of you have been in the Biennale of Venezia last year? You can raise a hand? Not so much. And how of these people have been visited the NEOM pavilion? Yeah. Wow, you are the best.
Can you come here?
Can you come here too? Okay, there are one or two. There's another one. Okay, there. No, I asked this because some of these images have been in this pavilion. What is the gravity zero urbanism and the principles of the zero gravity urbanism have been explained in this pavilion, and you will recognize some images from the panels. Okay, let's start. I don't miss anything from the introduction, the presentation?
That's great.
Okay, well, the other thing is, as you can see, my English is very bad. Pablo's is better, that's why he's here, no? Because Pablo's English is better. Okay, let's go. This is NEOM, and we made the presentation. You will see this image later on. When we talk specifically of the line. But we want to have some words before, not academical words, some comments about the background.
Yeah.
This will be the the index of the presentation, and we will share. Pablo will do the introduction, then I will talk. We will share the.
And we'll keep on interrupting each other,
Yes.
as I'm doing now.
Let's go.
So,
I have another thing.
before.
But this is later, no?
Later, yes.
Okay, perfect.
We'll open the surprise later. So, but before starting, before talking about the NEOM project, the NEOM project has a context, and we need to deal with that context. And we need to explain to you why are we traveling, why are we going, or why is the NEOM project being produced. So, we wanted to take you first through an analysis or through a reflection of what does a city, what is a city? What is a city? And the city, and there are many definitions for cities. I mean, I'm sure you have read a lot of definitions about cities, and there are many written definitions of what a city is and how cities originate. But let us bring that to the bare basics of what a city is. And a city is a combination of a successful city, a good city. There are many denominations, many human settlements called cities which do not respond to that concept. But the concept of a city mixes two key elements, which are density and community. One is a physical element. Density is a physical element. How many people can I put per square kilometer? How many people? How many dwellings can I consider in my city? How many square meters such these dwellings have? The other element is community. This is a social element. Density generates economic opportunities, generates activity, generates labor opportunities, and generates communities. Because when there is the economy, when there is enough critical mass in order to generate an economy, then the communities arrive. The word or the denomination of community is not a denomination, is not to be taken lightly. The denomination of community is, it refers to a body of a social body of people that interact with each other. In fact, cities, successful cities, are places where communities interact. When people belonging to different communities crisscross the public space, doing their own errands and find each other. As Jane Jacobs used to say, and this is a good picture representing what Jane Jacobs defended, as Jane Jacobs used to say, community in the public space of the city, people who would never mingle voluntarily, they are obliged to mingle. They are confronted with the alien. They are confronted with the other person they would not have confidence in. And everything happens in a surrounding where diffuse social control is happening, so that everyone feels safe in this type of cities, in this type of successful cities. No? This relates to an important point that we want to stress, and we'll come back to that. No? This relates to an important point that we want to stress, is that city is where the right to the city happens. What is the right to the city? Right to the city is the right that every individual has or should have to have his needs covered as an individual, as a human being, but also as a social being, also as a citizen of the area. That's the right to the city. There are many authors who have written about the right to the city. Harvey, Lefebvre, or Jordi Borja, for instance. But in its essence, the right to the city reflects this concept about density and community. This is a concept that has been, and we will deal with that later on in this conference. This is a concept that has been adulterated by several factors. But cities have become more specialized in their areas. Cities have become wider. Sprawl has born, and suddenly cities didn't have as much density and didn't generate as many communities as it was desirable for cities. And this is a problem that has been confronting social and scientists and planners during the past tens of years. We can, as an example, we can refer to Jane Jacobs and Moses, the famous Jane Jacobs-Robert Moses confrontation when dealing with how a city should look like, how a city should work, and how people should live in the cities. So, why am I talking about that before explaining this extremely relevant NEOM project? We will travel with you. We will propose to travel with you through this evolution of the concept of cities. And then we will land into the NEOM project. We want to travel with you through the utopical concept of cities, through the challenges cities are facing now, and we will also want to travel with you through the immense opportunities these new times are giving to us. The immense opportunities, the difference we are having now, the difference we have now respect all those theoreticals of cities that study the phenomenon of cities in the mid-20th century. We want to travel with you, we want to discuss with you which are these new capacities, these new techniques that make these new projects so relevant for the future. Okay? So what we will do is we will discuss the evolution of cities. We will discuss then how cities have diverged from this dense and complex and social concept. We will then explain the challenges we're facing. We will then explain the opportunities we have in order to do things differently, and then we will land on the NEOM project. So bear with us, because this is going to be quite a ride.
Okay, let's start. Let's start with this journey. This will be not a long journey about cities, but this journey focus in the purpose of the conference is to explain what is happening on the line. This is a world made by cities, and everything that is surrounded to us is cities. We dream in cities, we live in cities, and every time more and more people will live in cities. No? Then every world change have been surrounded for an urban change of cities. Every time that technologies apply, social improvement applies, environmental things are changed, the cities are transforming in order to have the same changes. No? Then we are trying to explain this in this journey, and we will start with the example that Juan have put, which is the first linear city, which is the first utopian city. It's curious. The first city has been designed as utopian city is the Ciudad Lineal of Arturo Soria. We are talking about 8,082. 8,082. We will recover the last century. We will journey the last century period. Arturo Soria was a visionary. In fact, he's a cartographist. He's not a, well, he's an urban planner also, but for sure he's an orthographist. And as Juan said, he dreams of a linear city who cross San Petersburgo to Cádiz. This is more than 4,500 kilometers across Europe, which is a little bit more than 117 kilometers of the line, no? But his dream is each house must have a garden, no? Let me read his motto. His motto: in the linear city, to each family a house, in each house an orchard and a garden. Is the first city who built a garden city, in fact, no? As you know, Arturo Soria has built a piece of this linear city in Madrid. Then the Civil War, if I'm not wrong, have stopped this project. But this is a quite strong project and one of the first utopical pieces. Sometimes Tom Main, who is the inventor of the line, have remembered Arturo Soria as one of his reference. The second utopic example that we have is this about the city of tomorrow of Howard. This is 9002, 20 years after the linear city. This is not a linear city. This has been a circular city. It's curious because if you have read some news about the line, there are some people in UK who have proposed to convert the line in a circle, which is curious, no? That's why they put also this example. And this is important because also Howard have built a piece of this city garden. In fact, it's the first city garden in United Kingdom, if I'm not wrong. And finally, this piece of the garden city becomes Ledgeworth, which is a town 55 kilometers north London, who already exists. Pablo, you
It
know
didn't-
the case of Letchworth, no?
Yeah, it didn't work quite well because one of the points about of Ebenezer and Howard, and this is an important point because Howard realized that he had to use the new technologies in order to create this organization of a central city and several satellite cities, which were the garden cities, and where the people would commute to the central city. Half of the population would commute to the central cities, and half the population would remain in the satellite cities. And it was relevant because the model, Howard's model, failed because of a poor planned economy. So the satellite cities, such as Letchworth, did not have enough critical mass in order to sustain the economy of those satellite cities, and they became dormant cities, almost dormitory cities, which was not intended by Howard. Howard intended those cities to have an economic substantivity of their own, and that's a good example of first how the eruption of new technologies entail or generates a new urban model. Palma Nova was another example which you mentioned, Juan. The eruption of new technologies entails a new urban model, but it is also a good example of how the unseen forces of the several layers in which the city is composed, like the economic layer, the social layer, have the power to break a project down and have to be analyzed and studied even beyond the physical layout of that city.
The next example, also in the linear, it's very known, for sure you know very well, and also Domain is using this reference. It's the project of bus of Algeria from Le Corbusier. Le Corbusier, as you maybe know, is a fan of Arturo Soria, and he have taken some ideas of Arturo Soria in the Les Trois Établissements and the book to say that the linear city is one of the most powerful solutions to have a city. And he applies this solution in many projects. I think that the most beautiful one is this one in Algeria. But they have made something quite interesting because they have inverted the garden city to horizontal to vertical. They have made it's the one of who has started with this zero gravity urbanism because they have put all the gardens in vertical, and as you maybe know, they have put the road in the top of this line. Then he's working also in this mobility integrated to the linear city in vertical. This is a curious history of Le Corbusier. Le Corbusier finally have changed the last model of this city because in the first version they have mixed all the people in the same building, but after on they have think that the rich people don't want to be below a road, and then they have put the rich people in a conventional city garden next to the beach, which is quite strange because they have changed the idea of put a linear city. They have dispersed the social classes, one in vertical, the other one in horizontal, treating himself a little bit. But I think it's a very nice, and there are some similarities with the way that this linear city have relation with the mountains. You will see there is also what happened also in the line, and we will see some image the relation between the nature and the linear city. I will finish. Well, we have had an example in the 1882, another in the 1902. The project Obus, it's 1950, maybe 1940, 1950?
40, yeah.
25, sorry.
45,
1945. And we are now in 1972. 1972 is Exodus project, which is the final project of Rem Koolhaas, who studied in the Architectural Association in London. And this is curious, and I want to show this project also because it's a linear city, but we have a change of mentality here. We are not talking about utopias, we are not talking about the way that we can live better, because utopias that we have shown is a way to improve the social, improve the nature, improve the relation of the man. We are exiting the cities who are not hygienic, who are dirty, and the utopias are answering this problem of hygienism. And here the things are changing because in this project, I don't know if you know this project, This is a project who is telling an history. In this project, and that's why it's called Exodus, the rich people of Berlin live in the linear city, and the poor people of Berlin live in the rest of the city. And to connect the city of the riches and the city of the powers, there are these pasarellas, these big pasarellas. And the project is telling a problem of migration, because in the middle of the presentation, Kul has explained what is happening when the power people migrates to the city of the richest. In fact, there is something strange, because this is not an utopia. This is an history who shows what is happening in Europe in 1972, in the middle of the Cold War, in the middle of in Berlin, when you have a wall who divides the socialist and the capitalism. Okay? Then this is a pessimistic version of the city. This is not stars, an utopical, a vision of how the cities can improve my way of life. This is, okay guys, we are in the middle of a mess. This might be a disaster, no? And this starts another era, in my opinion, a little bit. And you will see why we are talking about that. This starts the era of the dystopias, no? During the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, the things have changed. And the people, I mean, the graphics, the films, the music, everything talks about not utopian cities, they talk about dystopical cities. Cities where we cannot live. And we have a lot of examples of this in the cinema. You can see Blade Runner as is a match show, and this is not a casualty that we have had this image of the next one, but also, I don't know if you know these films like Reminiscence. Reminiscence is a film where Miami is flooded, and you can travel in Miami because the high rise of the sea, and you can travel in Miami as it was Venice, or maybe what's it called, this other one, Millennium. No, in Millennium, Elysium, where there is the powers live in the planet and the richest live in a spatial station, and the power try to conquer the city who is in the space. No? All the world are a disaster. No, the same happens in Blade Runner, or maybe in The Fifth Element. And it's curious because this image of the Blade Runner of the Fifth Element, who shows a city who is not habitable, it captures us. No, we like this image. We want to live here. No, it's something that is like exciting. No, for the young people. Maybe not in the reality. No, but in our imaginary, there's something who is there. No, and I show this image because then you will recover this image in the line. And this is not a casualty. This is not a casualty. No, that's why I want to put this example of dystopical cities. Okay, in this quick journey, I want to put 3 examples, which are the typical examples, but it's important to show these examples for the things that Pablo will explain later. This is the 3 typical cities that the modern architecture have shown us icons of the functionalism, of the rationalism. No, there are Chandigarh, Brasilia, and Islamabad. No, there are these 3 cities are utopias being reality, and these 3 cities have a firm, have a men who have built these cities and have a political purpose, because these 3 cities have been capital of the new nation. No? In this case, the new Punjab, the new part of the Punjab in the India. You know, the Punjab have been divided between Muslims and Hindus. The Muslim part have been remained in Pakistan, and the Hindu part have been remained in India, but they knew a new capital. Then they have told Le Corbusier and Pergeret, saying, okay guys, we need to do here a political place. This is a political project, no? We want a new capital. And then Le Corbusier have the opportunity to put all his knowledge in this capital, a functionally city, separating the roads, the traffic, the green zone, the residential, the fabrics, the political center, and I don't know if you know the project, for sure you know it, but it's important because it becomes a reality. No? The second example is Brasilia. Okay, we have Lucio Costa, Oscar Niemeyer, and Burle Marx doing these three perfect conjunction of architects. One have designed the planning, the other one have designed the buildings, the main buildings, I mean in the political area, and the third have designed the gardens, no, or the landscape. This is the city of art, no, because in fact he has been designed to show how nice could be the architecture of Oscar Niemeyer in a political center, no, and it shows the potential of a new country, which is Brazil. He wants to show this. The last one is Islamabad. This is not very new. It's from a Greek architect, Dioxidadis. But it's quite interesting because, in my opinion, is the city of the method. No? The first one could be the city of the functionalists. The second one is the city of architects of the art, and this is the city of method, which is the reality nowadays. When we build cities in a methodal. No, because we build cities, one piece, another piece, another piece, another piece, and the first one who have this is Dioxidadis in Islamabad. By the way, it's a city where the traffic roads are the most important part, as you see here, or as you can see in Brasilia or in Chandigarh. You are completely deaf if you don't have a car. Completely deaf. You cannot walk. You can try to walk in the parks of Chandigarh, I have been there, but the distances are so long that you never cross only one piece of the island. No? And that gives us new questions. What happened with these new cities have been reality? Are they answering what we need? Are they in the place? What happens with the dystopias? Why the people don't want to think more in utopias? It's maybe these cities are not answering the questions that we have, or the questions that it arrives. No.
So we have been seeing the evolution of cities. We have seen several utopic models. We have seen
the evolution of cities in a very particular.
In a very small evolution of very small cities. Of course, we should have been from the prehistoric area to the current moment. We have seen just a small piece. Thank you, Albert, of the evolution of cities. But we have traveled from the utopias to cities which were planned anew, like chartered cities. But we need to tackle another issue before we talk about the main project, which is NEOM. We need to deal about what has generated, what has taken us apart from the traditional concept of city. Which are the elements that have taken us apart from the traditional concept of cities? Because if we are complaining, if we said that cities have a problem, which are lack of density or reduced density and lack of community and are not able to generate enough communities, those things must have a cause. In fact, they have several causes. Let's point out to two main causes of this phenomenon. Okay? The first one, without any doubt, the first one is the car. We are not car haters. Neither Albert nor myself are car haters. But it would be impossible not to recognize that cars have had a major influence in the shape and how our cities work lately. No? Cars mean that, and how we have dealt with cars, and there is an interesting article here for anyone who is interested, which is called "The Tragedy of the Tyranny of Small Decisions" by a mathematician which is called Hart, which deals about this issue. No? About the issue of internalization of benefits of using the car and externalization of the negative points of using the car. Which impact did cars have in the cities, or which impact do cars have in the city? I think that brings us down to our real experience. In cities worldwide, a parked car requires 3 times more space than public transport. In a city, a car requires 10 times more space to evolve and to move around than bicycles. That according to an article of 2019. In an average Western city, 40% of the surface, 40% of the space of the city is dedicated to the car. Let's try to imagine if we had a house. If you all were designing a house and your client were to come to you and to your office and say, I want a house where 40% of the surface is the garage. You would say, okay, you are not thinking properly, or you are very rich. But if in a normal layout for a house, nobody would dedicate 40% of the space to a car, or to cars in generic. No? More statistics. Motor vehicles are parked 95% of the time. Motor cars are parked 95% of the time. Drivers, on average, in Western cities, only spend 1 hour driving a day, and then they park their car. When you go out of this wonderful building and you look around in the streets and you see cars parked in the street, you need to think that this guy who has parked his car in the city, maybe it's you, has just privatized a space measuring 5 meters per 2 meters of the city. If anyone were to go to a town hall in Barcelona and say, hey, I want a 10 square meter piece of the street for my business, the town hall would charge an enormous amount of money for the right to use this place. And we all think we can park freely in the city. We can park for free? That doesn't make sense. But I'm not here to talk about that phenomenon. Let's a couple of statistics, and then I switch over to the impact this has had in the design of cities. In cities, more than 30,000, in the European Union, more than 30,000 square meters of land is devoted to parking. 30,000 square kilometers is devoted to parking. The city of Cornellà measures 7 square kilometers. We're talking about 30,000 square kilometers here. So let's have the dimension of that. No? Why am I talking so much about cars? Because cars generate this other phenomenon. This is where the city loses density. This is a sprawl. This is an overall phenomenon. It is not exclusive from the United States. It is happening in China. It is happening all throughout the Western world and all throughout many parts of the developing world. It happens in Latin America and it happens in Spain. We tend to think that, we live in all cities, very traditional, historical center, historical downtowns. We are not affected by sprawl. This is fake. Sprawl has many dimensions, but if we look around the metropolitan area of Barcelona, if we go to municipalities in the Penedès, we will find examples of sprawl. The sprawl does not need to be a nice house with a swimming pool. Any area of homogeneous building that has been built at the same time, that has no services, that is sprawl. Sprawl destroys the density of the city. Sprawl destroys communities. How does it work? Generations of the city migrate from the city because of prices, because they don't feel safe, depends on every country in the world. They migrate from the city to the gated communities, to the sprawl. They migrate there, and there they are very comfortably set out. They are very happy, because their neighbors are similar to them. They feel very familiar to their neighbors. If you look at those houses have the same layout. They cost more or less the same price. The socioeconomic profile of the families that occupy these houses is more or less the same. So these people do not mingle with strangers. The first generation says, okay, that's good. I'm out of the city, I don't have the pollution, I don't have the noise. I can live with people which are similar to me. That's very good. They have the experience of living in a chaotic city where they come from. Second generation doesn't have this experience. The second generation has always lived among their equals. When they go to the mall to buy their things, they go to the mall where they confront their equals. When they go to the offices park out of the cities, they confront their equals. And they do this movement with cars. So this is a vicious circle that is ever-growing vicious circle. And we need to tackle that. We need to break this vicious circle. Because among other things, that generates a huge impact in the municipal finances as well. Municipalities do not get the tax revenue out of these socioeconomic families, but they have to maintain the services of the municipality. So that generates a crisis of municipalities, of the traditional municipalities, of complex cities. So if we don't break this circle, we have a problem in our cities. And that relates to another thing, to another issue we want to discuss here in order to contextualize our situation. Let's deal with the challenges cities face. Sprawl is one of the challenges. Cars cause sprawl. Sprawl is one of the challenges. But let's tackle other things. We need to, according to the United Nations, at the end of the century, we need to limit the increase of temperature in the world to 1.5 degrees. Greenhouse emissions should be restrained so that the temperature does not reach more than 1.5 degrees Celsius around the world. Where do we have the average? Where do we have? So if we go beyond that limit, then we're expected to have huge environmental impact. We're expected to have a lot of problems of water scarcity, a lot of problems of food scarcity. So we are in for a very complicated moment of humanity. I'm not trying to be over pessimistic, but because we need to relate that with the main point where these greenhouse emissions are produced. 70% of the greenhouse emissions, according to the United Nations, are produced in the cities. And that takes us to another reflection. That is today. 70% of greenhouse emissions are being produced in cities today. But the United Nations also say that by the turn of the century, so in the last half of the 21st century, 75% of the world population will live in cities. Let's combine those two things together. If 70% of the greenhouse emissions happen in cities now, and these cities are only bound to grow, we are facing a situation of megalopolis. We are facing a situation where 30 million people's cities will become a standard. Now it is an amazing thing. Now you can talk about Tokyo, you can talk about Shanghai, you can talk about Mexico City. But in the future, there will not be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 examples of megalopolis. There will be more examples of megalopolis. Barcelona is just, by the way, a speck in this ocean. It's a very small city by worldwide standards. But if we are bound to finish in this type of cities and 70% of the greenhouse gas emissions come out of cities, we need to deal with this problem in cities. Cities are the problem and need to be part of the solution. If we think that we will tackle this problem organizing the rural land and the farmers' activities, we are very wrong. The problem needs to be solved in cities. Cities are the main key of the equation. So that relates to the challenges. We are in a very problematic point of city history, of urban history, and of human history. Let's discuss what is happening around the world now. Let's discuss what is being done, because it is not just us that we sit in this auditorium that are realizing about this problem. This is a widely known problem. The last Habitat 3 conference, well, the previous, the Quito Habitat 3 conference, the main subject was, well, two main subjects were right to the city and the paper of cities, or the role of cities fighting against the increase of global temperature and climate change. So this is a world trend. What is happening around the world regarding cities? We need to look at what is being done.
Whoa.
No, the other one.
What happened? We missed one, no?
No.
It's my turn now?
Yeah.
Okay. Never best that a lawyer talking about climate change. The more combines people talking about climate change are the lawyers. No. Yes. How the cities are answering this challenge? No. This is this piece. No. And we have titled this "The World is Becoming a City Lab." No. Because if you see this map, if you see this website, and please visit this website because it's incredible. These guys from it's called the Charter Cities Institute. They have collect all the new cities. I mean, cities from scratch, not remodeling culture. We are talking about all the new cities in this in this web, no? We have the link, but we don't have time to show, no? And as you see, the new cities are distributed in all the world, but in more density in China and also in the Middle East, no? There are a lot of new cities in Africa and in South America, and not very much in Europe. These dots that you see, it's only France and some points in UK, but there are no cities in Australia or in Canada or in Spain or in the rest of Europe. These are curious. These colors you cannot see very well, but maybe you can see in the top the legend. They show what cities are ongoing, what are blocked, what are suspicious to be a speculative product, because we are now in a very strange moment, no? If you go to this web and you then go to the cities who are now building from scratch, you see things very strange. You see things very strange, no? Because in this case, for example, this is Nusantara in Indonesia. They are trying to answer these questions in a very traditional way. They're answering this question as if they are building Chandigarh now, or Islamabad. You know what I mean? They are using techniques from the 60s, the 70s, to solve problems in 2020. And maybe, I have no idea, maybe some of them are very good experiments, because, for example, this one, it's Telosa, it's in Utah, made by Bjarke Ingels. It's supposed, maybe it's a good example of how a city must be, no? But it's, everybody knows Bjarke, he will not do stupid things, no? But we are using the planning and the urbanism from 20 or 30 years ago, no? And is this that way to answer this big problem that we have in hands? I don't know, it's a question, and we can discuss it later if you want, because you have a lot of experiments, no? This is curious because it's called X0 city, as the drawing show, no? Because it's a X, no? There is no doubt, no? That is a X city. But this in Kuwait, where the temperature is like in Saudi, 47 degrees in July, in June, in August, we can get this green at 47 degrees. No, it's the first answer that you have in Kuwait. I mean, no, I don't know. Maybe yes. I have no idea about it. Or this other piece. This has been in the F to finish. Is the new capital, the new administrative capital of Egypt. Is the new one. This is brand new, and as you see, the car is the king.
This
car
is all,
is the king. You cannot
all planning.
You cannot walk from one office to another office. No, it's quite difficult. No, to I don't know if there is a train, maybe no, but the world is now a city lab with all these experiments of new cities. No, well, this is another city in China. This looks well. China have a problem of population, as you know. They have some very speculative cities. They have another who have been quite well thinking. There are people working here in Spain, in Barcelona, in these new governments. Well, it seems more elaborated. We need to study it one by one. But in my opinion, they are answering questions with the traditional tools, with the traditional instruments. And maybe we need to find a next step. We need to find another way to achieve this challenge. No, we have put here. This is your turn because I cannot explain this. you will do. You see it. The theoretical part is more Pablo, no? But this is the blue color, no?
Let me. So we have.
Explain what is this, but first. No?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
We have explained the challenges we are facing. We have explained that In the face of those challenges, it is normal that humanity thinks we need to rethink cities. Our current cities are not capable of dealing with this challenge, with these new challenges. We are facing climate change. We need to rethink how do we live together. But there is, as Albert was saying, there is a problem. We do not know how to get out of the traditional methodology. We are applying the traditional methodology. Let me ask you a question. Some of you were in the Biennale of Venice. Okay, that was quite curious. But let me ask you even a more difficult question. Has any one of you visited Ildefons Cerdà tomb in the Montjuïc cemetery? Okay. Touché, no? Ildefons Cerdà tomb in Montjuïc cemetery has a reproduction of the Eixample in marble. So the tombstone is like a reproduction of the Eixample in marble. It's quite nice. It's nice to see. But that's not my point. My point is that if Cerdà were to resuscitate, he would recognize our planning methodology to the point and to the comma. The only difference is that we would be using computers, and he didn't have computers. But if you have the chance to have a look at his work, the Teoría General de la Urbanización, his methodology is very similar to our methodology. Very similar, I would say, identical. It strikes as being very curious that in a society where we have learned how to buy through the internet, we buy in Amazon, we do planning like in the 19th century. What do I refer with that? And what's my point talking about that? Our capacity, our computational capacity, our capacity to calculate reality, our capacity to analyze reality, and to do it in real time is a new thing that we are not used to work with. Our planning tempos, and that's the lawyer talking, our planning tempos are measured in years. From the moment someone in my office thinks about a project until the moment this project is built, we will spend a minimum of 10 years. All the reality and all the analysis of the reality that is happening in this process is outdated the moment the process is executed. There is no single study that we put in our plans that is believable. Because everything that is a provision of more than 5 years, everything that goes beyond the 5 years threshold is pure science fiction. If we were capable of let me talk about the economic analysis of plan. If we were capable of thinking how cities will evolve economically in the next 10 years, we would be very rich. We would be buying cheap properties in order to make them more expensive and then sell them. We are not capable of doing this kind of provisions. We were not capable. Our decisions, our planning decisions, last for tens of years. The General Plan of Barcelona was approved, that's an extreme case, was approved in 1976, and it's still in force. But we live in a different society. We all live in a society where we have sensors, where we have algorithms, where we have an immense power of calculation, where we could be analyzing the reality as it happens, and we could be extracting consequences from this reality as it happens. And we could be changing the rules of the city as that reality changes, at the same pace that reality changes. That's a main change, and we are not taking advantage of that change. Another type of change is that now, with our calculation capacity, we can visualize realities which were only grasped, were only intuition that the professionals of planning grasped in the past. What I'm referring to, we are able to see social relations. We are able to see economic relations in cities. And when we are able to detect those relations and study those relations, we are also able to modelize those cities and predict how cities will work. So we are way beyond the era where the physical professionals, like architects and engineers, I'm not talking about lawyers. Lawyers have nothing to do almost nothing to do in planning. But architects and engineers were to say, this street needs to be 20 meters wide. We are entering an era where the professional would say, this street needs to comply with the requirement of not having more than this CO2 emission. And the design will come after that. And we can do that in a scientific manner, not in an artistic manner or in an approximative manner. We can do that with all the necessary precision. And that is very important, because that is what lays behind the NEOM concept that we will enter into discussion now. The NEOM concept is not just a physical exercise. It is not just a formal exercise. Under the NEOM concept, there is a whole degree of study of how relations will happen, and a whole degree of modelizations, which is not really new. This is not really new. All the solutions that our models take us direct us to a complex city, to a dense city, to a social city, which is recovering traditional ideas about what a city is. So what I'm saying is, the new technology that we didn't have is pushing us to prove and decide about planning in a different way, to come back to a traditional concept. And that's the interesting part of this exercise we are carrying out in the LINE project. It's like there will be a moment where we'll say, oh, brave new world that has such planners in it. That moment will come. Not now, but it's coming.
This picture is the blue marble. It's called the Murban. Maybe some of you doesn't know. Don't worry, doesn't know. But this is the first picture that the Apollo 13 have taken for the Earth. It's the first picture that we have seen from ourselves. And the importance of this picture is not the picture itself. It's the things that the humanity have been done to do it, to have it. It's not important to get the moon. It's important all the things that we have done to get the moon. And all the people who have moved technically, innovative, in another way to have the moon. Put a foot in the moon, this is the easiest part. No?
That all the technology that took us to the moon is the important part. This picture also symbolizes that we need, in order to overcome the challenges we have, we need to think differently. We need to see ourselves from the outside. We need to photograph our reality in a different way, from a different standpoint. And this is what this picture is about.
Well, we have traveled around the thing, no? You see, no? Because we have traveled, we make a journey around the final 20 minutes chat, which is talking about the line, which is talking about the moon, the NEOM, and trying to understand what is the line. Because as you see in our mind, the line is not only a line, it's not only a project. It's a little bit more of a project. And what I found interesting to work there and to be part of there is not the project itself. It's how it's moving around the project and around the site. What is the experience to be there, no? And I don't know if you have seen this film, and it's very catastrophic, Oppenheimer. You have seen this film of Oppenheimer, okay? Then the people is living together in a place trying to invent something. And what is exciting in NEOM and in the line, it's not the bomb itself. It's that everyone is working in something new, in something who try to solve the challenge that the world have. Then we have a product. Maybe some of you think this is a shit. All of them think that this is the best thing to do. I don't know. But everybody's sitting there trying to solve problems that the world have. No? Well, this is NEOM. This is the line. And what is nice in this picture is to see. Also, you can see here Tabuk, which is important. This is the city of Tabuk. It is one of the more important cities in Saudi Arabia. It's the northwest cities in Arabia, and here you have Dubai, which is another very important city of Arabia as a fishing cities in Arabia, and next to Dubai there is a quite important port, an industrial port, which is the second port of the Red Sea. The first one is Jeddah, which is a little bit south. No? And what is interesting, I will show you another picture. No? It's well, no, the second is one. These three parts of Neom. I think it's important to know this. We have the first part of Neom, which is the desert, the coastal desert. This is poor sand, and you have the beach side here near to the archipelago, the islands. This is a very nice coral reefs, a very nice place to see. There is below the sea, you have a garden of corals and maritime fauna. Then you have the mountains in the middle. This is quite high mountains. We have here 2015 mountains, and you have Trojena, you will see then. And finally, you have the upper valley. We call this the upper valley because this valley, it's like 500, 600 upper the sea level, okay? And this is a part of the water room. You have seen maybe the water room. The water room starts in Petra, in Jordania, and the water room crosses the Arabica Peninsula from Petra to Alula, which is a little bit more south, and maybe you have heard about Alula because there are Nabatean tombs there. Thank you, Pablo. No? And then we have these three pieces of the Arabica Peninsula in this point, which is Neom, no? The mountains, the upper valley, and the coastal desert, no? Neom, it's next to the Red Sea, of course, and next to the Mediterranean in the northwest part of Arabia, which makes this place interesting to have this city here, no? Well, there is an history that says that the prince, Mohammed bin Salman, start having his summers in Morocco because the royal family have his summer in Morocco, and they have built the new palace here in Neom. And when he has finished the palace, he said, this is a good place, I will put a city here. This is the history, but this is not true. The truth is that Neom is geopolitical, very well situated, no? Because this is the Red Sea. The Red Sea in the ends have the Gulf of Aqaba and have the canal swell. That means that all the goods coming from Asia to Europe go through this way to Mediterranean and then to the Europe. It's a strategical place. Also, because we have here a difficult part of the globe, no? In the Aqaba Gulf, you have Egypt, Israel, Jordania, and Saudi, 5 countries in a very narrow place, which have a lot of problems. As you know now, I don't want to be in a political part now, but these countries want to live in peace, are trying to live in peace, because they are very close. And they want to have a new perspective of life. They cannot, but they want to be in life, and they're trying to achieve an agreement to be in peace. It's not like this now. We don't be entered now in this situation. Maybe we can talk in the discussion, but geopolitically is a place where they are trying to get peace. Okay. Also, they are very close from Europe. They are 5 hours from Europe flying, and they want to be also, and I can say it, this is not a new contrapoder, how do you call that, Pablo, in English?
A balance power.
A balance power from the Persian Gulf, which is just in the other side. Then it's a strategical position, geopolitical talking. No? Neom have, 6 regions. The land is one of the regions, but this is not the only one. The land is one of the regions of the new future of Neom, but they have also Trojena, which is in the mountains. A city called Trojena will be in the mountains. They have an industrial city which is in this port, Oxagon, and they have also the archipelago. These islands, who are the archipelago, led by Sindala, are also, some of these islands will be urbanized and they will be habited. No? For example, Tiran, which is this one, the big one, only 6 kilometers to Egypt, it will be the place of the new University of Neom. No? Then Neom is not only the line is the capital, but it's also a project with multiple projects inside. This is the airport. The airport is situated in the upper valley because in the future they will also be used by Tabuk, which is here, like 50 kilometers to this place, to the airport, 40, 50 kilometers. Then the airport can be used for the people from the line. We will explain later. There is a spine, a train, high-speed train who will cross, but also for the people of Tabuk in this place. This is Oxagon. This design is made by Garrigues, and now they are building the part of the port, which is this part. They are now in works. This is Trojena in the mountains. This is a project who makes a lot. Maybe it will be who makes a lot of questions about sustainability. I'm the first to say it. Maybe you will say it later. And this is Sindala. This first project, that's a touristic resort. They need this place to launch. Okay, let's talk about the line.
Yep. As you can see, the line is a project that goes throughout. It's 170 kilometers long. It's a city that has this linear form that is limited by two vertical infrastructures. I'm not calling them a wall because it is not really a wall. Two sets of vertical infrastructure that are 500 meters high, and the distance among the two walls between the two walls is 200 meters. That's how the line operates. And the line, as you can see, just the start point of the line is a cantilever building which just floats over the water along the coast, and then it goes all the way to the mountains. It disappears in the mountains and then it reappears through the airport. But the infrastructure is continuous. The infrastructure does not have an interruption, so you can go from one point to the other point in over 20 minutes. Okay? The main issue, the line will have also two main ports. You see them here, one around the cantilever and the other one the hidden marina, which is the one we'll show you more detail about after that. The main point about this linear form, we can discuss whether a linear form is better than a circular form. We have just mentioned that before. The main point about this linear form, one of the main points, is that it generates like a wadi. Wadi is a valley in Arabic. It generates a wadi. Wadis in this region are normally like 10 degrees less than the surrounding areas. So that the important part of this being aligned is it generates this climatic condition where the temperature is 10 degrees below the surrounding areas, which is quite important in summer, believe me. In winter, you can more or less be there, but in summer, it becomes...
You can see here the two blades and the canyon in the middle, no? Then one of the problems that this country, not only this country, the Middle East country have, as I said, and I promise you because I have been there, it's in June, July, August, and mid-September, from 11 morning to 7 afternoon, you cannot walk. You cannot be outside. I don't know if one of you are from this place. Maybe there are some of you coming from Egypt or some place, no? But you cannot walk. You need to stay. And if you go to the cities, in Dubai or in Jeddah or in Riyadh, there is nobody in the street. The kids play in the parks at 8, at 9. This is a reality that we cannot understand because we don't live there. No? Then the canyon, it's something that try to lower the temperature 10, 15 degrees. No? Then you can walk in the middle of this line. You can do it with other shapes, for sure. But this is one who works in that sense. No?
It is important to know that in the mountains, temperature is normally between 10 and 15 degrees below the coast. So if you connect the mountains with the coast, then you get this type of temperature benefiting all the area.
This is a very, some of my friends say, don't put this because this is a wall. But yes, this is a wall. We need to recognize. It's empty on the bottom. You can cross in some places, okay? but this is a wall. And you have this entrance, which is the hidden marina, which is the first part that they have been building. Every module have 800 meters. They are counted by modules, and they are building the first model, which is 2.4 kilometers. And
They
started working on this point. You will see that later.
Every model of the line will have its own services. Everything will be in the line. Everything is planned that to be within 50 minutes walking. There are no cars in the line. All transport is public. So there is no private transport, no private cars in the line. Everything is walking distance. All the nucleus of services are walking distance. So it's like a 15 minutes, the real 15-minute city.
This is the part where it crosses in the mountains. There are also things to solve, which is the wadi, how the wadi cross around the line. This is something who has been studied also. But this is a quite nice picture from arriving to the mountains. As you can see, the highest of the line, it's always the same. They lose highest because they are always the same height. What is? Let's go to the hardest part. What is zero gravity urbanism? No? And we are trying to explain before to a journalist. This is not easy to say. The zero gravity urbanism is try to put the city in 3 dimensions. No, try to eliminate, and Pablo will explain it very well in more administrative terms. Try to eliminate the land as a piece of the city. No? If you substitute the roads, if you substitute the system of transport and the system of the services transport in vertical, then the land have not importance. You are plying the city. No? And maybe we can show first the video.
Let's see a video of how this works.
And then we try to explain the rest. This video is made in Manhattan. Maybe one of you have seen it. This is a new version. But we can do the same video in Champs-Élysées.
That's the idea is that all the density of a city the same density Manhattan borough will have, can be in a module of the line, within a module of the line. You can have that density, you will have more proximity, and you will not be using the land with that intensity. So that's the idea behind the line, to free up land. In fact, there is a mandate in NEOM which says that in the whole NEOM region, which is big as Belgium, 95% of the land cannot be developed. That means that we need to put all the population which is intended to be in NEOM in 5% of the land. That requires hyperdense solution, like the solution the line is offering.
Let's imagine the same exercise with the 4 blocks of the Champs-Élysées. Can we ply the 4 blocks of the Champs-Élysées and put it in vertical? Can we substitute the roads, the paths, the public realm, and put it in vertical? This is what the line is trying to solve. And I say it's trying to solve because it's not solved yet. They are now working in different solutions, and there are different teams of architects working in different solutions. We have, you will see now, a solution of morphosis, and you in the studio, this is the solution that we have shown in the Venice Pavilion, but this is not the last one. They are still working in the solution that how we can put this in vertical. This zero gravity urbanism, it's developed in 7 principles. We don't talk about the 7 principles because it will be too long and we have 6 minutes left. But this is hyperproximity, hyperconnectivity, minimal footprint, ubiquitous public realm must be everywhere, hypermixed use, we need to mix all the uses in the line and in all the levels of the line, multiversity and invisible infrastructure.
Let us stop here for a moment. I know
Yes.
we are concerned about the time, but let's stop here for a moment, and let's deal with this concept, zero gravity urbanism, that we have been discussing. What does zero gravity urbanism relate to? It's exactly the administrative way, the administrative solution for this physical solution. What does that mean? As Albert was saying, it means that the land is no longer the important piece of the equation of building the city. In all our cities, in all our experience, buildings are on top of the land. In fact, in the traditional legal concept, an owner would be the owner of everything from hell to heaven, as the traditional legal concept goes, which we all know it's fake. We know that the deep underground belongs to the state. We know that the mineral resources there belong to the state. We do not ask any pilot of all the planes that cross our property on the top to ask us for permission to cross over our property. So we know this is not a real concept, but legally it is. Here, all the legal concepts have been turned around. Land is no longer important to create property. Property, it's born from the blades. And that comes in another extraordinary evolution. We have, normally in our cities, property comes from the land, and the land is pre-existing. It's a pre-existence. We need to work on the land. We need to put roads. We need to readjust the land. We need to make parcels, plots, whatever. But the land exists. Here, the blades do not exist. So in order to create property, we need to create the conditions for property to be born. And that is what zero gravity urbanism means. We are getting unattached to the land. We are having properties being born from the blades or from the ceiling of this line. And suddenly, property is not an unlimited piece of rights that goes from hell to heaven. It is just a cube of air, which is where the boundaries are fixed according to geographical coordinates. That's the different concept of property that underlies all the NEOM concept. Because if we admit that property is just this cube of air that has geographical coordinates as its boundaries, then we can admit that property can be stacked one on top of the other. Different kinds of properties. A public park on top of a residential building. And on top of that public park, a stadium. And on top of the stadium, another residential building. Because those are just different layers of property. And most of you would say, but we already have that in our systems. We all have experiences. We all know that when we go to Salamanca, all the flats that are on top of the soportales of the Salamanca Central Square, they are of private property and they are on top of public property. Yes, but that is an anomaly. And that was built when our legal system was not so strong as it is now. Now, this would be very difficult to configure under a legal system. That is why the NEOM system, it's born the other way around. NEOM system just considers that every property has to be born artificially.
I remember now one day Pablo trying to explain this and a British lawyer.
Yeah.
And the head of British
Quite
lawyer
difficult,
explodes. Explodes. Well,
sorry, you brought the lawyer. So, I'm sorry. You know.
Let's be very briefly in one of these exercises. No? And one of these exercises of the interior of the line and how this zero gravity can be solved is the exercise that Morphosis have realized for the hidden marina, which is these three pieces, the three first models, and which are now ongoing. And this is the exercise that have been in the Venice Biennale. This is the first concept, no? Public realm and connectivity. And as you can see, in these three first pieces, there are three levels of public realm, no? Three parks who cross all the line in three levels, and they are trying to arrive everywhere. This is a section. Here you can see the axonometry. Of course, the difficulty is to have these parks in a correct degree, in a correct place, with sun, with vegetation, with everything that we need. But this is the exercise, no? And this is one of the pieces that they are solving, no? Can we build this public realm? We know what is a park here or there in a 3D dimension. Can we do that? This is the exercise that people are doing now, no? Second exercise, can we have the facilities, the assets? Can we go to the theater? Can we have a stadium? Can we have a hospital, a university, a municipality? Can we have these assets attached to the chassis? Because we don't have roads, we have a structure formed by a chassis, three-dimensional. Then we can put these facilities attached, anchored to the system, and we can access to this, I don't know, this must be the must be the stadium, maybe this is the university, and this is the opera, I don't know. But can we do that? Can we design that?
The point is, can we think three-dimensionally? Can we think a city in 3 dimensions, like it was a lasagna? And can we think about the different layers of the lasagna and the different things happening in the lasagna? Can we plan this way? There is no reason why we couldn't, why we shouldn't.
And the third is the mobility. Okay, we can have 5 levels of mobility, horizontal mobility. Of course, we will need also vertical mobility. We have the public realm. We have the spine, which is this train who crosses all the line, and you can go in a fastest way from the cantilever point to the airport, maybe in 30 minutes. And then you have a normal underground going from one neighbor to the other. Can we solve this kind of mobility using these systems or this new technology? And now the people there and the architects from everywhere are thinking in this. Then the interesting part is not the product itself. The interesting part is all the brain that are below this exercise. All the talent, innovation, technology, all the people who are thinking in this possibility. No? This is a last video showing the process of the excavation, the process of construction, because this is a process to construct this also. And this is the Hayden Marina construction project. This is a very quick video to see, because here the problem is not only to have the foundation of the line, you need to excavate to enter the sea in the middle of the desert. No? Then you need to excavate this big piece, then you need to have the spine with the construction. You need to have the stations to connect, because the spine is not under the line, it's in the side, and you need to have the line foundation, and how we can build all this piece. This is not the final, this is only an exercise.
But you can see the blades growing here, sustaining the city that will be growing from the blades, or the buildings that will be arising from the blades. And that's finally, that's the sea entering, because that will be a marina.
Okay.
So
they are doing.
The works are ongoing, as you can see. This thing is being built. When you go visit there, you see all the cranes and all the machinery from wherever you look. It's all full of trucks, machinery. It's being built at an expedited pace. So it is not just an idea. This is becoming reality.
And finally, we have some image. Before to arrive to the Morphosis last proposal, they have been a competition, first with 10 teams, then a second round with 5, and a third one with 3. And this is image from, this is one is DMEA, this is Chaps, Peter Cook, this is Euler-Boo, this is also Euler-Boo. I think this is UN Studio. I mean, there are a lot of people thinking about it. Maybe they don't have the solution yet.
But the important point of all these pictures that you are seeing is that, as you can see, parks, public realm is intermingled with private property. That goes, so suddenly everything is mixed together, as though we had said, okay, let's discuss, let's argue why, let's challenge the concept that things to be separated in 2 dimensions.
Is that utopical city? Is that a dystopical city? Is that a new model? I don't know.
So
it's very nice to be there.
So let us bring back. Let us just recap in 30 seconds. Okay, we have discussed. We have discussed with you. We have taken you through a travel, through a journey that started discussing which are the elements of success of a city: density, community. Why cities need to be dense and need to generate several communities interacting with each other. We have discussed how the cities are evolving, how cities have evolved, how the idea of a city has evolved in the past utopically, and then from a execution point of view. We have discussed challenges. We have discussed opportunities, new techniques, new capacities that we are not using, and then we have brought that down to NEOM. Why NEOM? Because NEOM is where all these ideas, all this technology is being applied to recover the old concepts of a successful city, the concept of density and the concept of community. Of course, it remains to be seen whether this is going to be a success. We hope it is. We think it will be. It remains to be seen. But all the instruments are there for the idea to become a success. Because the main driver behind NEOM is, let's go back to what makes cities successful. This is not a formal exercise. It is not a static exercise. It is not a future per future exercise. It is an exercise to go back through another way, through taking another road, to go back to the proven concept of what a successful city is. And that's what we have been doing in the last years. So thank you.
I give you a little model. This has been just a little model who have a gift in the opening of Biennale of Venezia, but explains quite well in a very small size what is this city first model that they are building now.
Okay.
Ahora viene la peor parte, ¿no?
Yes, now comes the more difficult part. And, well, first of all, congratulations. You did a great job. And I think that you are participating in something incredible. It's part of the history of the humanity, maybe in some decades, when someone will be doing an introduction and we will be talking about utopia and ideal cities, we will mention projects that you have participated. So you would be able to say, your grandson, I was there. Okay, but now, I had prepared some questions, but while I was listening to you, I broke my paper, and I blocked. I'm shocked. And to be honest, when we were preparing this forum, the idea of inviting you, I'm going to be some confident with the audience, and Felipe and Jaime, no, we were thinking inviting someone to explain NEOM. And I say, what? And in the very beginning, I was like quite blocked. And now I'm much more than blocked. I'm shocked because I have never heard a lot about NEOM. And I have depth in that subject with you and preparing all this forum. I have been looking in the internet and reading and seeing documentals and interviews and whatever and that. And then I'm like a kind of drunk about so much information about that. This for one hand. On the other hand, when we prepared this forum, we used to invite two people, like you, to guests, because we want to have a balance and to have some discussion between you. But of course, we make a big mistake, and then we invite a lawyer. And then the lawyer has done a great agreement with you, and then you prepare a very comfortable presentation, and then I think that I am obligated to have the role of the guest that was not invited. And, well, I think that I was going to give the audience the floor to the students and teachers. But I have only one question, finally. I have only one question. I listened to you explaining from the rational point of view how it makes sense to be something like this, some things can be done, something this can be achieved. This could be a good experience or not, I don't know, wherever. You were together so comfortable in this stage. And I would like to make your question, to ask a question. Do you have any doubt about that? When you look yourself at the mirror, finally you say, what am I doing?
I have all of
and
that.
can you share these doubts? Because, I mean, finally, I'm gonna, when we get out of here, then we will meet with our students, and then they will ask to us, what you have been teaching us for the last years?
No, I have all of doubt about this, but I've been quite relaxed when in Venice I listened Peter Cook. Peter Cook have said one thing, and I've been quite relaxed. Peter Cook have said, if Neom have success, it will be the new Babylon. But if not, which is very possible, it will be a very good experiment that how we can build vertical cities. Because at least we will need it. We will need to build vertical cities in one point. Because we have no land, we have no space to locate all the people who comes. Then, if it have success, perfect. If he have not success, we have learned a lot. And to me, it's enough. Maybe it's not enough for the private funding of Saudi Arabia, because they are paying all the things. But for the humanity, we need to do it. We need to experiment about this.
And I think there is another fact. I also have had lots of doubts because as you can see, this project it breaks with everything that we have been doing here, and we think we do good planning here. We can discuss that, but we think we do good planning here, and this apparently goes against everything. But there is this point where there is an intuition that, as I said when we were speaking, that planning, our way to do planning needs to change. We need to rethink how we do planning. We need to rethink how we think about cities. We need to get away from the two-dimension way of thinking. It is not that, I'm not saying that every one of us thinks in two-dimension, but I'm saying that the normal way of doing planning is very conservative, very two-dimensional, very let's go through the trodden path. And I've been working here for the last 25 years thinking, I think we are missing something. And this point of something is what Albert is just explaining. This capacity, this willingness to innovate. Whether that finally is a successful city, a big city or in world terms, or it is just a small city, we will see. But it is compelling all the technicians that are working there to think out of their comfort zone, to innovate, and most importantly, and this is a collateral effect, but this is very valuable. It is compelling everyone to discuss, to have a same language, and this is very important because we all share like the planning language, and we all understand the concepts, but we all approach those concepts from our own reality. And finding a common language is also a very important achievement of this project. It's not the main achievement, but it's also an important achievement. But the main point why I work in this project, even though it apparently goes against everything we are working on here, is because it just goes in the right direction of innovation, of how planning should innovate.
I think that this fact of the innovation, I think is interesting. I really appreciate, I like when you show some reference from film, some filmografía. I always show my students a reference with filmography. And there was a film that you didn't show that was, I was thinking of that film when I was looking at preparing this forum, that is in the original subject title of the film is Total Recall. Total Recall is, in Spanish, it was Desafío Total. Is this from Arnold Schwarzenegger, and now has been a remake. And there was like a city in Mars, and there is a moment where the oxygen supply fails, then it seems that everything is going to collapse. So I thought, when I was looking at the line, I thought that maybe, and I agree with you, this, Albert, in this sense, I thought myself that maybe was more than an aim of an utopia. It would be nice to understand this place as an aim of a research project. So if we should build in Mars, maybe we could be having the experience of a building like this, because finally, all the question that arises here, and many questions. For example, how is going to be developed the balance between social relations in terms of psychology, which kind of pathologies will develop the people living there? You ask us, you would like to be here? Yes, maybe for a weekend, I don't know. Maybe, I'm sure that everybody's going to visit that place if finally it comes true. But I think that there is this kind of field of knowledge between the understanding. I prefer to see this more like experience and research to develop new cities in places, in geographies like this, than maybe a real opportunity to try to implement the notions, the traditional notions of the achievement of the cities. This is my way of seeing that. But now I would like now to participate as students and some teachers that you are here, or some architects that I'm sure they're going to have good approach for having this conversation.
Oh, there you go. Well, first, I would like to invite Pere, because we also, as chair of the urban design in the university, we obviously wanted to invite him for such a forum. So I want to give the word for Pere that he joined us today.
Thank you, Jaime, and thank you for the initiative to present this amazing project. I have many things in my mind, and I don't know if I will be able to explain this. First of all, I think we shouldn't be talking about building cities in this case. In my opinion, this is more building infrastructure, because city, and this is an open debate, of course, entails urbs, no? Infrastructure. This is the duty of technicians to provide livable environments, but also civitas. This means architects are also responsible on generating public spaces that provide opportunities for socializing, and this means that we are also committed, we should be committed on creating strong social tissues. This is civitas, and also a polis, no? A city is a polis, no? And polis means that we want free citizens and understand the city as a place for contestation, for debate, a place to participate in the decision making. Okay, if I begin thinking these questions and I put my mind in the cities that I love, I find these elements. They provide me a good infrastructure, so we totally agree with the idea that car-dependent cities should be mitigated, the public transport policies, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff relates with reduction of carbon footprint, and this makes sense. So we could agree on that. In terms of infrastructure, in terms of quality of physical environment, I have my doubts about the proportion of 200 per 500, and what I can see through the images generates some anxiety, to say softly, no? Because we are people who tend to live on the ground, touching the ground, feeling the ground, under the trees, or yes, controlling the ground, but not a part of the ground separated with these strong walls. No? So, okay, but this is infrastructure, and this can be understood as a good experiment. The weakest point, in my opinion, is when we move to social and to politics. No? When we move to social, there is no any strong reflection on public space. So if we say, okay, the key points of a successful city are density and community, well, okay, density doesn't mean a good community. And previous attempts to do projects like that had existed. No? In Europe, I remember projects of Bakema during the 70s, when they wanted to grow and produce good city, they were thinking about how the neighborhood unit should be, what's the relationship between my private place with this first community, and then maybe a second round of community, and finally I have another level of public space. So there was a careful understanding of the sequences of public spaces at different scale, serving as a place of identity for these people. So there was a strong thinking in the idea, what's the community, what's the society that we want to help to flourish in this place, no? And there were very refined ideas on the design of the public space as the domain that really defines the success and the quality of the city. And I didn't see nothing about that. So, okay, we can talk about the engineering, we can talk about technology, but at the end of the day, if we want to properly talk about city and not mere infrastructure, we should contain these. Also, the idea that the cities have a soul. A soul means some connection with a place that we appear. No? Traditionally, cities have been built in places selected by a subtle trade-off of geography and economy. You know? And in this case, it's just a decision to put a city based on global strategic issues, which makes sense, but makes this try really a part of the place. And then when we lose the connection of the place, we lose the connection of the identity, because there is identity, there is people living here, there is a culture. Then I think we lose the soul of this city, and the cities that I love have good public spaces, diverse public spaces, really connected as a public space systems, and also spaces full of identity, because they have been the result of a aggregative process with multiple actors through long-term time to build this identity. So we need time, we need local identity, we need this shared process. No? When the city is so top-down, so technically driven, then it's difficult to think about if we are really doing a proper city. No? And then this could be also related with other social issues that are not controlled by architects, but what happens with the diversity of the people, who is going to live there, who can afford to, who is going to decide about these people. So the idea that we can create diversity, we can generate living societies should be related with a much more complex understanding beyond just density and what I say, density and community. No? So I miss this intellectual approach. No? And finally, then there is something that is silent but remains, in which is politics. This is the decision of a totalitarian regime deciding to generate a geopolitical strategy with a real estate business behind this decision, and there is no doubt on that. And then I think, okay, is this the way that we can promote a place for free people to decide about the city? Who's going to decide about this public space? Is the community going to participate, or maybe we're talking more about comfortable customers of a nice device? No? Then I want free citizens, I want people to fight, I want the city as a place of contestation, and this makes politics also important, because cities are also polis. And then it's when I say, okay, it's true that this is a mission-oriented thing, and as a mission-oriented thing, dynamizes energies and can be part of the strategy. But if I'm going to participate in a mission-oriented thing as an architect, I would like to know if I'm going to build a bomb, or maybe I'm going to prevent the COVID. No? Maybe if I want to prevent COVID, I will be committed on this mission-driven. But if I'm going to build a bomb, maybe this is not the best place to put my intelligence, unless they are really well paid. No? And this is what, in my opinion, exists behind these nice slides. Thank you.
No, but I think this is you have completely right. I mean, this is the software part of a city, which is very important. No, it is essential, and in fact, when we are talking about innovation or we are talking about technologies, they are trying to answer these questions because they are not solved. And this is not a problem only for NEOM. This is a problem of all the cities who are from scratch. Because you have the same problems in the X0 city that we have seen in Kuwait, or in the Nusantara city that we have seen in Indonesia, or the Telosa city that we have seen in Utah. This applies for all these cities. Because when you are building a city from scratch, we have no history, we have no identity, social identity, I mean. We have anything about that. But the fact is that you need to build cities from scratch.
That's an important point. And the points you were mentioning, which are all very relevant. Let me deal with the political point at the end, which is a very delicate point. But what the line is about is exactly about making a city as you're mentioning. We have put a stress in the infrastructure, but as you have seen, all the images we have shown here were different in themselves. Because what is relevant about NEOM is that there will be a structure, there will be an infrastructure supporting a city. The infrastructure is not the city, it will support the city. It will be quite a rigid infrastructure because that's a line. The same as the Cerdà grid is a rigid infrastructure, but supports a city. So the city will be created afterwards. This is not a 10-year project. This is not a 20-year project. It is perhaps a 30, 40, 50-year project. This city that will grow from the infrastructure, will grow from the blades, has to ensure that it complies with the needs of the public space being the area where different people cross each other. Because you're saying density does not entail good community. I agree, and we know about very dense cities which are not good places to live in, but density creates the condition for good community interaction, and that is the point about this space within the infrastructure. So we have made a stress about we have stressed the infrastructure because it's. Of course, the infrastructure is also mind-blowing, the type of infrastructure, the 500 meters infrastructure supporting the buildings. That is mind-blowing. But the inside of that, the software, as Albert was saying, is a thing that will be growing within that infrastructure. That infrastructure is a petri dish for the city to grow. And that's the important part of it. As a difference from other cities, this will not be planned up to the lamp. This will not be... of course, the first modules are planned. You cannot do otherwise. But the way this city is intended to grow is through creating planning instruments that define future growths of the city. It is not a 170 kilometers project, everything determined. This is a 170 kilometers infrastructure that will be divided in modules, and every module or every set of modules will have its own plan. So the city will grow in an organic way. So the public space, we hope that the people doing the planning in the future of this city will have the sensitivity to create the public space with the quality that generates good community interaction and social pluralism, which is also an inherent part of this city. It is impossible to have a city under the mandate of 95% of the land needs to be vacant of development and 5% of the land needs to be developed, and then not to put all the different socioeconomic classes into the same place, because you will be against that same mandate. You cannot use any other part of the territory to do that. No? So that's a city that is a bit different from a financial product. There are other places in Saudi Arabia which are built like ordinary master communities, ordinary gated communities which work as finance product. Not this one. This is intended to have the plurality and the social diversification that cities have. Let's deal with politics. This is an issue. This is a difficult issue, and we cannot be ignorant of what type of state Saudi Arabia is. But we cannot consider that from outside. We need to consider Saudi Arabia from the inside. And I cannot dare to consider how Saudi Arabia should be or should not be from a political standpoint. I know what would be desirable from my point of view, but Saudi Arabia is a different country, sovereign state that has some issues that we find difficult to bear, but that's their issues. So, of course, cities should work as a political place. Jordi Borja said that. Public space is a political space. And you were also saying that. But it's a political space in Saudi Arabian terms. And that is how it is today. How will that evolve? We all hope that this will be an evolving reality. But at the moment, this is a Saudi Arabian space. With one little point that has to be said in that, is that legal conditions which are not considered acceptable by international community will be very difficult to apply in NEOM. Because NEOM is an international city, will be an international city. So this will, I don't know if that will trigger an evolution, if that will be the consequence of an evolution, I don't know. But what I do know is that NEOM is going to be among their international counterparts in the terms of cities, in the terms of safety of people, safety of investments, protection of individuals. That will be.
Let me add one thing. If it's quite easy to answer. If they want a city, they need to solve the question that you have made.
Yes.
Because if not, there is not a city. Because cities are citizens.
Mm.
And in the first questions that Juan have sent us, they ask, it will be poor people, or it will be only rich people in the city? It must be medium people, rich people, and poor people, because if not, it's not a city. It's a condominium of richest people, which is not a city. Then let's try to advance, let's try to solve all this problem, because one thing is infrastructure, and I think it's interesting to have this infrastructure in vertical, and let's see what happens. And the other thing is all the social questions that you have made that, of course, must be solved if you want to have a city.
What else?
Yeah. Just a question. I think that for me it was very interesting and very open-minded, and I understand, answering also, that of course it's not a European point of view in order to make urbanism and to face how to make a city. No? And I understand the culture of the desert in Arabic is how to settle somewhere, changing the hostile weather conditions of a site in order to be able to settle there and start a city. That means that to change the ecosystem in order to start something else in terms of biodiversity, but do it in a sustainable way. No? I'm wondering that it's very important that the system, once it is done with a lot of money and materials and the energy and so on, you start something that is able to continue on its own. That means with the sun, with the earth heating, with the wind that maybe it's going to flow over there. But you didn't speak about it. But it's very important because it's a new energy, a new system that is going to function on its own. Otherwise, if it doesn't happen, it's difficult to understand how it will work, just putting energy from outside. And there's very nice examples in the desert as this kind of wind towers that started this kind of kasbahs of fresh air and so on that are now the beginning of cities that started 1,000 years ago, no? From Beduinos that suddenly settled there, making this kind of big, huge, important infrastructure, maybe the same significance at that time. 2,000 years ago, it was things like this in the same scale. But at the moment, it was a very deep understanding and knowledge of how to change natural conditions of that infrastructure. And you didn't speak about it. Maybe it is.
Yeah, NEOM is intended to work 100% on renewable energy. And that's important, and we didn't mention that because there are so many things to mention about NEOM that we concentrated on the city part of it. But NEOM, the area of NEOM NEOM is a region which is big as Belgium, as we mentioned. There are the intention and the plan is there for NEOM to have very big wind farms and energy production installations in and surrounding the line. The overall idea is that the line should be almost self-sufficient, so entirely self-sufficient from an energetical point of view, and almost self-sufficient even from an agricultural point of view. So NEOM should be pretty much a self-sufficient city on that regard. That means, and talking about changing the natural conditions of the area, that means detaching many things from the land, because the land will not support some of those actions. So that means detaching some of those things from the land and making them happen at height. And this is also one of the big innovations of this project. But of course,
Pablo have said, and it's true, that the two shapes with the two blades with a canyon, it's an Arabic shape, because when you see these places and you travel to the wadis, where you have 600, maybe 500, 400 mountains with a canyon in the middle, you feel this fresh. Yeah. And this is a very Arabic formula. Before the line, it has been a lot of projects, and I have the luckiest to see some of the first competitions in 2019 and 2020, and there is a lot of fake kashbas, and they're trying to build a city of 9 million people using old model, and sometimes the old model works, sometimes not. And this type of here is the same, no? You can use some old models to build cities, and maybe you cannot. And I see a lot of people doing this kind of cities, trying to imitate, and it doesn't work, no? I think this is a risky project. But I insist, the interesting part of this risky project is not the project itself, it's how we can learn about it. And the effort that we need to do it to solve it. This is the interesting part to have been part of them.
Many of the requests you get when you are working here is like, no, your first answer is, no, this cannot be done.
Well,
and then the whole organization.
If I say to my mother in the 60s, a guy will go to the moon.
Yeah.
What my mother will say, but you're a crazy what? What do you will do in the moon?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that we have some question from student, Olivia.
Yeah, we're going to start with just thanking you for joining us this evening, and of course putting your own unique twist on the format. I think it's been really engaging for everybody.
So you mean you do not mind that I have not given a very hard time to Albert?
No, it's been a beautiful dance. Really.
Okay, thank you. That's good. I was about to do it, but I just thought about it.
There is una obra de teatro. There is a piece of theater.
Yeah, it's a theater. It's a play
in Spain, in Barcelona, very famous, which is called La Extraña Pareja,
exactly.
which means the strange friendships.
Well, now I've seen it.
It was American, Walter.
It was American also.
Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon.
Well, I think something that the general public have in their minds when they see the NEOM project, because it's so widely publicized, the first thing they wonder is this really possible? And considering the history of projects coming out of the region where some really have fallen completely into the sands of time, what are the indicators that you have seen, as with your unique vantage points within the project, what are the indicators that this project can go through to completion?
Well, for starters, the works have started. This is a very important part because we could be dealing with just a paper trail of good ideas, but the works have started. The excavation has physically begun. Laying the foundations of the line is a thing that is happening. So that's an important.
Sorry, and it's impressive
Yeah.
to see 6,000 trucks going back and go with sand. It's impressive.
So that's a good point that makes us think that this is going to go for real. The second point is that there is a place. This is a place where everyone who works on the project is living in the area, and that's a very important. That's also a very important thing because we have seen lots of projects designed from desks somewhere in Los Angeles, New York, Barcelona, wherever, but the fact that the people that lead the project and the people that are dealing with the project are living in the area makes everyone be exceptionally committed to the project. So if you go there, once you go there, you breathe project, you live project, you sleep project, everything is project. So there is a huge human stamina going behind this project. Of course, there might come one day where something happens, a natural disaster or even an economic disaster, or something happens and the project gets stuck. But at the moment, the project is going full steam ahead.
Hello. I am the following question, okay. Basically, my question is, should governments be directing their main financial focuses on mega projects like the line, or should they focus on pre-existing infrastructures that need improvements because they are lacking in basically sustainability standards and so on? Because I think that we can all agree that there's a higher and higher contrast in the world between these like very future-oriented cities that are ultra-developed, and then come the cities that are basically stuck in the past and they are almost abandoned, or they're ghost cities almost. So how should we balance this contrast?
Yeah, we're trying to explain in this map. You can navigate in this map to see what the cities are blocked, what the cities are going on. In the case of NEOM, it's in the line. It's a fully public investment right now. That means that I think that the government of Saudi Arabia is very conscious that they need to start the project. They want to involve the private investments later on, not now in the first step, because they need to build this center, which is the Hidden Marina. They need to put all this innovation inside, and they try to solve assuming the risk, which is quite savage. I mean, because as we are talking now, we don't know if these cities will have success or not. They don't know, but they are putting the money, trying to solve these problems and to generate innovation and generate knowledge to solve this problem. In that case, maybe there is another case that you can do it, no? But I think it's quite honorable,
yeah.
no?
But whether the money could be better used for retrofitting existing infrastructures or retrofitting cities in order to comply with the environmental constraints and challenges that we'll be facing, that's a very good and important. I think that's a very important question. We need to deal with the circumstances of Saudi Arabia. I mean, this is a discussion that should be had within Saudi Arabia, in the sense that We cannot expect countries, no matter how rich they are, and that's not how the world works at the moment, but we cannot expect countries, no matter course. In exchange of putting the infrastructure, you need to lose something. But you were already willing to lose the cars. You were already willing to lose this 40% surface of the city which is dedicated to cars. So that's winning efficiencies. Of course, in the cost component of a property, there will be a small part of the infrastructure. It happens everywhere. In every small component of a property in a new development in Spain, you will have a small part of the roundabout, a small part of the water deposit, a small part of the substation, of the electrical substation. And that's part of the components of the price of the land, which in this case will be part of the components of the price of the block of air, of the cube of air. So the market will be pretty much working the same line.
Okay, I think we have, Borja, it's 5 minutes to finish. If you have last question.
Thank you so much for your presentation today, Pablo. Very nice seeing you again.
Yes, likewise.
So, well, we work in the line. We are working right now, Estelle and Ignasi, our head of design. We are about to submit tomorrow in the central part of the line, in the top. The project starts at 350 meters and ends in the 500, 1.5 million square meters. And both Ignasi and Estelle, they have worked with a team of over 50 people in the last 9 weeks, because things in the line work within weeks, not in months.
We know.
Remember that you have signed an NDA, yeah?
Absolutely, absolutely. Nothing that I've said, and what I'm going to say is forbidden. I also took notes of what you said, just in case.
No, come on.
So well,
you will get a Burofax from me in the morning.
Yes, you will have already received one in your house today. Anyway, so just to share some thoughts and some things. Over the last 4 years, my company, OEB, we created a spin-off called ELIA, Enterprise for Large International Architecture. And the reason why is because we met His Royal Highness, the Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And I'm not going to extend too much. You have already explained the phenomenon of not only the line, but KSA, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. By the way, we have a Saudi student here in our university. And what's going on there, it's a transformation of a culture, of a country, of many, many things, no? And you have already said things, but I want to give my point of view from a studio of architecture who are working. By the way, there are several studios of architecture in Barcelona. Barcelona, both inside the line and outside the line, are providing a lot of professionals, a lot of creative people that are helping. And I wanted to share you that over the last 4 years, working for giga projects, public investment funds, etc., what I think is the most amazing thing is that this is a catapult. Pera, you were talking about, you were questioning, which is what you have to do, and you were doing very well, Pera. But remember your PhD, your thesis, doctoral thesis is about las colonias, textiles, no? Those were experiments, social experiments of cities, of new cities that were being built from scratch, from zero. So, yes, of course, it's very controversial, but what I can tell you from our side, and I'm finishing my point, is that think about Lagos. Think about, like, Nigeria is about 250 million people. Philippines is I think 100 million people. Vietnam is 90 million people. Indonesia is 250 million people. Ethiopia is 110 million people. Think about the 3 billion people that work in really, really bad conditions under the standards of quality of life. What does NEOM have to do with that? Well, from our perspective, we have learned so much in the last 3 years, and there are 3 challenges. Sustainability, of course, making sustainable cities, digitalization of architecture in our studio, and one very important that Juan knows very well, which is construcción industrializada, industrialized construction. We are learning so much about all of that, and we believe NEOM is a catapult for the 10 years that come after. After 10 years, when Africa, with Latin America, Sao Paulo, all these cities that are really a mess, that have a lot of problems, that these problems are not being solved, I think there are going to be a lot of solutions that come back from NEO, because we already know, we already see how we are going to apply our know-how that we are acquiring in NEO in places like Lagos. So I think that going to the moon, as you said, was an adventure that what is important is, I'm taking your words, is not going to the moon. It's what you learn in the trip, in the journey. And we are learning so much. And I think it cannot be anything but good for humanity. Of course, the end of the trip, we don't know where it will take us, but for sure, it's worth going the trip on my behalf of the team. Thank you.
Yeah. You are great.
Okay, I think that it's a good way to finish this. Borja, thanks for sharing your experience. It's 9 o'clock. I think it's time to finish. And, well, I really thank you, your participation and your conference. Thank you.
A pleasure.